Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
It is Thursday. Hey, it's Thursday. Good morning, Monica. Happy Thursday, girlfriend. Glad you're here. We saw you show up and we were like, hey, it's our one fan. He's here.
That's right.
We can always count on you. But it is day 3 of our discussion this week on adventure.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, remember that cartoon? I can't remember. It was one of my favorite cartoons, and the kids used to watch. It was super funny.
You've been doing that voice for...
Yeah, because of that cartoon. It's super cheeky. It's like, it was, gosh, I can't remember it. But anyway, it was funny because the kid in the cartoon would always run around going, adventure! And it was supposed to be like not serious. And it's like that new cartoon that we used to, I can't talk this morning. The new cartoon that we just started watching with the kids called Kick Buttowski.
Oh, I love Kick Buttowski.
It's
Kick
so
Buttowski
good.
is
where it's
the
at.
kid.
Yeah, it's so funny. And he's like, adventure! Anyway, so that's what we're talking about this week, you guys. Adventure. Freedom in adventure and all of the ways that you can go find it. Now, we've talked a lot this week already about, the freedom piece, like finding freedom, getting outside your comfort zone and stuff like that. But we haven't talked a lot about like different places we could go. Like, what can we be doing? How creative could we get to find a way to get out of your house and go do things? We were talking about that this morning. This devotional's really like got us thinking about our own life.
She was looking up RVs, guys.
We were looking up RV rentals. I was like, well, we can't buy one right now, but I know they rent them because, we've never done that. Because we were talking about taking the kids camping. I was like, why are we taking these kids camping? And he's like, well, maybe we like rent an RV instead of trying to go out and buy all the equipment right now. Because we just haven't. That's the only reason we haven't been camping. Because I've been camping my whole life. We just happen to not have any camping gear.
I used to camp in the backyard.
in the backyard. It's called camping in the backyard.
Yeah.
Alonzo's here. Hey, top of the morning to you. It's okay if you're working. You can listen. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so first of all, housekeeping. We need to talk about a couple of links you need to be aware of. And I'm going to bring this up right now. Okay, so the first things first, in the private Facebook group, excuse me, I have my diner voice coming out. All of a sudden I couldn't talk. In our Facebook group, if you're watching from inside there, it is a private group, so Facebook doesn't allow all of the comments to come through, right? So you have to click the StreamYard link. Thank you, Facebook. And making sure that your name is connected to our broadcast. So click the StreamYard link, please, and then we can see your comments. If you are wanting to follow along on the study that we're doing to structure this discussion this week, you can go and click on the YouVersion Bible app in the description. Anywhere you're watching this or listening to it, you can click on that link, and you will find the all of the days. So you can follow all the days. You can follow along with the text and the scriptures if you want. And you can also find a million other devotionals. Like I say a million, like it's exaggeration, but probably. I mean, there's thousands of devotionals on there for all kinds of subjects. So make sure you plug into that app because it's really, really useful. You can have it everywhere you go with your mobile device. And if you don't want to do this on mobile, you can click that link. It'll take you to the desktop website as well. So you can follow along with us.
Oh.
Javi froze in time there for a second. Did you see that?
It's a glitch. Sorry.
It's the Matrix, you guys.
Look, if you guys don't know us, my name is Javie. This is my wife,
Jessica.
And we are with the Underdog Ninja Foundation. Here at the Underdog Ninja Foundation, we stand on 3 things. That is faith, character, and action. And we are here every Tuesday through Saturday morning with, diving into that one thing, that faith piece. That's our foundational piece. And what we do here is we have discussions around a devotional. The devotional is usually a 5-day devotional that really addresses the things that we battle in day-to-day life. But it's an extra challenge when we are faced with adversity, health adversity, whether it's heart disease or it's diabetes or cancer or whatever you're facing. But our foundation is strictly, our nonprofit foundation is strictly for those that are fighting heart disease. So what you'll hear here is, because I'm fighting heart disease, we often talk about that community, those people that are fighting heart disease. It's unique in that way. However, if you are in our private Facebook group and you don't have heart disease, maybe you have something else going on, we do address those things because look, God's word covers all things.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of our discussions here is not just to read a scripture and like it's not like God's word shouldn't be treated like social media memes, right? Some positive words, some inspirational quotes or anything like that. God's word is meant more than that. It's the good news, folks. It's multidimensional. It feeds
it's alive.
us. Yes, it's alive. It feeds us continuously throughout our life. So why do we have these discussions? Because we want to share God's word, share God's good news during the storm, in the times of turmoil, and have these discussions and really open ourselves up to what God and how it applies during the most difficult fight of our lives.
Exactly.
So, but we've found in this past year just amazing revelations and inspiration, even in like she said earlier, just in this week's in this week's series, we are doing it more fun and lighthearted.
Yeah.
But God's still speaking to us.
Oh, totally.
On how we need to think about our day-to-day lives and how we need to think about adventure and exploring our relationship with God.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking from this week's series.
That's the big adventure.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it is because
it's an adventure for eternity. Right?
I'll tell you what. Once God starts speaking to you and you start listening, and you decide, hey, you know what? Let's do it your way, God. It's an adventure. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning,
beautiful
Annie.
Soul. It is. It's an absolute adventure because you all of a sudden are on this ride that is going to end well, but you don't know what the ups and downs are going to be, and it's never according to what we would think. It's always like we arrive there on a route that we didn't even know existed. It's like, you get in your car and somebody says, okay, we're going to go to, the next state over. And then they take this road you've never seen in your life. It's not on a map. You don't know how it is that you even arrived at that state. You were going like in an opposite direction even.
Where are you taking?
And and you're like, this isn't the way there. And they're like, no, it's the way there. And you're like, no, I'm saying it's not the way there. And they're like, no, it is. And then you end up there and you're like, how in the heck did that even happen? And not only that, but it was a more beautiful ride, right? Or you learn something or end up being able to pick up some stuff along the way that you wouldn't have gotten anywhere else. Like that's what life with God is like. It's all over and over and over again without fail. Like how many times have we gone through something, an adventure with God is what I would call it. I'm going to call that from now on. It's like my adventure with God, because so many times we've been like, okay, God, this is what we're going to do. And he's like, yeah, okay, we'll kind of do that, but we're going to do it my way and better. And so that you guys end up in a better place and, and going a better route. And then it always doesn't seem like that's what's happening. And all of a sudden we'll end up there and we're like, do we beam here? What's happening? How did we end up in the same place or a better place? Or,
usually it's better.
It's without even realizing, it's like, how it didn't seem like that's what you were doing, God. It's really cool.
Right.
But anyway, so that is, so that's what we're talking about this week. And there's so many dimensions. That's why we keep kind of hitting all these different things. There's so many dimensions of, finding freedom in the adventure and the courage and then the bravery of just like stepping out and like going and doing something fun, All right, let's dive in, shall we?
Get started.
Shall we? Okay, I'm on the patio of Blackbird Espresso in Spearfish, South Dakota, waiting for my van to be repaired. My family is tubing Spearfish Creek, and my job is to figure out where we're camping on the Montana leg of our adventure. There's a broken line in my Montana map that diverts from Highway 89 south of Livingston. The symbol on the map legend means that that's an unimproved road. My favorite. Even better, at the end of the road, there's a campsite and a creek. I can tell the campsite is in the pine trees, and from previous experiences on Montana creeks at that elevation, I'm certain that there will be wild trout. Shouldn't you make a reservation? My wife asks. No, we'll be fine. This is Montana, not California. She's not convinced and presses the issue. I reassure her and remind her of my vast camping experience. The mechanic calls and our van is ready. So the belts are fixed, but the radiator fan isn't working great. He asks if I want it fixed, and I tell him no, I'll just take it easy. I'm anxious to get on the road. We have camped all over the West, and as a result have slept in the most beautiful places our great country has to offer. We've awakened to pine trees and rivers and waterfalls, mountains marked with glaciers and aspens, and deserts so vast you think the earth might be flat after all. We've also awakened in truck stops. We turn south from Livingston, and my wife drives so that I can navigate. We find the unimproved road, a combination of crumbled asphalt and gravel, rising up a steep incline into the canopy of pines. I have a feeling that this is going to be the best campground ever. The engine struggles, and the thermometer rises dangerously, and my wife is nervous, and I'm excited. Don't worry, the engine will be fine. It's not. We crest the last hill, and the red buzzer goes off, and the van overheats. And I tell my wife to cut the engine and just coast into the campground. The campground is beautiful, shaded under pines, and I can hear the gurgling of the creek. See? I say, everything's going to be great. The campground host greets us at the van, and I excitedly announce that we're here to camp a few nights. Did you make reservations? No, I say sheepishly. Sorry, campground's full. Adventure action steps. Book a campground. Double check your dates and campground reservations to ensure everything is what you think it is. All right. Proverbs 21:5 says, good planning and hard work leads to prosperity, but hasty shortcuts lead to poverty. Proverbs 15:22 says, plans go wrong for lack of advice. Many advisors bring success. James 1:5, if you need wisdom, ask our generous God, and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. I love this. This is so funny.
But, oh my gosh. So, how many times do we do that, though? We make assumptions, especially in planning our trips.
Oh, yeah. We
like
just
that.
did that. We just did that. We went to, so here's the thing I wanted to say about this. And I think that this is something, the thing that jumped out at me the most is that it's not about perfection. It's about experiences and memories. What are the best stories? All the stuff that went perfectly? No. The best stories are the crazy stories where you're like, listen, you've got to hear what happened. Like you've got to, and that's why there's a whole story.
As long as no one dies or get maimed.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, of course not. No death stories are the funny stories. But, yeah, I mean, unless you're talking about wild bear attacks. But no, this is the thing, is that we go and we get all disappointed because our plans don't go as the way we wanted, or like, we don't. Look, we went to the coast for a couple of days, and it was just overnight. We did all kinds of bad planning. I mean, it was like we didn't have time to really plan it. We were just trying to get away. We
planned, but it wasn't good.
Well, yeah, bad. That's why I said bad planning. I didn't say we didn't plan. It was bad planning. So, like, we didn't. Well, first of all, we didn't make reservations at the restaurant that we wanted because it was the only place we really could go or wanted to go. And of course, I didn't make reservations in time, so we didn't end up going there. So yeah, that sucked. And then so we were like, that was like half the reason we wanted to go where we were going, the town we were going. And then so that didn't happen. And then we ended up in like a ridiculous amount of traffic. So this like 4-hour drive turned into a 7-hour drive both ways. Meanwhile, keep in mind, we're going overnight, just overnight.
Yeah. So
it was like 2 days of driving.
But what started that, why we selected the place we selected, because we didn't make our reservations there was a place we wanted to go. Yeah. And stay. But we didn't make those reservations in time. Yeah. So we're like, we'll wait. We kept putting it off. Yeah. And pretty soon it got booked up because it's summertime. Because duh. It's not COVID. And other people had this idea of going to the beach too. We
got used to COVID and like, people not traveling. And
so they got booked up. So we're like, okay, well, where can we go? And so we ended up going further south.
Too far south.
Right. For a 1-day trip.
Yeah. So it was totally an adventure, though. I gotta say,
I spent most of the time
driving, not on the beach. But we like driving, but not that much. Not where like the whole trip is driving, and
not when the alternative is
the beach. Yeah, no, I know. And so this is what happened: is we kind of course, we're human. We got frustrated. We got disappointed. We were just like, ugh. And at one point or another, we both just looked at each other and we were like, you know what? We're going to ruin this trip, especially for our kids, if we don't just realize that it's an adventure and they don't care. And they didn't care. They were like, whatever, we're in the car. Like, we're going to the beach and then we're going out to dinner and we're going, we went and saw some fun like things on the coast that we'd never shown them before. That was just like little novelty things. And like, it was just fun. We had some really fun times. But we had to really look through and look past the stuff that was disappointing and frustrating.
If we were really good planners, we would have went like a week ahead when there was a heat wave.
Oh my gosh, that's the other thing. Yeah.
1 week later, this is how fickle the Northwest is. 1 week we have a heat wave.
And I'm talking
record-breaking heat wave.
Like we couldn't even sleep in our own house. It was so hot.
And then we're like, well, we're going to go next week. Everybody's at the beach. We made all these excuses. And so we go, and the weather is completely different. Yeah. I mean, it's super cold, Oregon coast.
Well, it wasn't super cold, but it definitely wasn't warm. It wasn't warm.
I don't like wearing, I don't know. I know you're used to it. I'm not used to it.
Wearing a parka on the beach.
Right. Growing up in California, it's still weird wearing a sweater on the beach, wearing pants and a sweater on the beach. That's weird.
Well, not when you're from Oregon.
That's why people in Oregon wear socks with their sandals.
I'll never think that's okay. Okay, so this is what happened for us though. It's exactly like that guy's story. Like those are the funny stories. So one of the things is it reminds me of like all the National Lampoon stories, like those movies where like all of the most ridiculous stuff happens and he's like, it's an adventure, guys, and his whole family's like, you're crazy. This is not working out at all. And he's like, but we're together. The car catches on fire. It's an adventure. They're like, we don't have anything to drive. And he's like, but we're together. Like that's not from one of the movies, but that's basically like the whole vibe of like this family. Mm-hmm. And it's just, he's like, isn't this great? And they're like, what are you talking about?
It's total dad.
Yeah, it is total dad. I love that though. And so that's the thing is that's what I was talking about yesterday is how many times in life have we gone through something and you're like, I'm sorry, this is this way, or you have to put up with this, whatever, or I'm saying that to him or whatever. And really, so what? I signed up for life not to be boring. And boy, has that not disappointed. Mm. Like, I knew we were going to go through some stuff. Like, we knew we had like health issues, or we knew we had, we have really passionate personalities, and, so do our kids, and we just like adventure. And so I knew it was going to not be boring, but there's been times where it wasn't fun because we were dealing with a lot of, really stressful things or health matters or whatever, but it hasn't been boring. And it's been a blessing, and it's been with the people I love. And so what? It doesn't have to be perfect. And that's something from a recovering perfectionist is interesting to say, because it's more about the experience, the rawness. I love how this devotional points out they've woken up to trees and aspens and running water, and also in truck stops. So what? It's all on the path. It's all on the journey, right? So and the ups and downs are where the beauty lies. If everything was perfect and always worked out exactly the way we thought, believe it or not, it wouldn't be as good. It just wouldn't. Where's the fun in life without risk?
Right. Right. It reminds me of when we were moving cross country. Both ways, twice.
Oh yeah, we've moved all the way across and I mean, but all the way across the country.
But driving there, I mean, we could have had a mover. Yeah. Move our stuff, and we could have flown there, but
nope. We chose to drive,
and it was a lot of fun. I mean, we set up the car one way, and
we chose to drive, but not only that, we chose to drive and drive all our stuff. So we had to split up, right? So he's driving the Penske, and I'm in the car with the kids. Both ways. This happened both times. And so this is why our kids like road trips so much, because we saw the whole country and everything. But now I can't see a Penske on the road without being like, I'm navigating. Like, it was funny. So I'd have to follow this Penske everywhere. And we had these like walkie-talkies set up so that we didn't have to be on our phones the whole time. So we would just be like, Roger, Roger. Like, the kids thought it was the best thing. They were talking to Dad in the truck. Well, of course, half the time
Is that where she gets that?
I don't know. Probably. I mean, it's Star Wars, but, of course. But I think they get it from Star Wars.
But we got it from there, too.
But we did it, yeah. Well, anyway, so we are on our phones half the time, too, though. And we would just sit there and talk. And we ended up doing things like we wrote an entire movie script. I think one of the
yeah, that's right.
one of the states we went through. We sat.
I wish we would have recorded that.
I know.
We made millions.
I know. No, we wrote it like we did this 2 or 3 times. We just write entire movies. One of them, we wrote an entire movie script that actually exists, and we didn't realize it until we got done, and we were like,
yeah,
we wrote Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Like we were like, oh, and then this, and then like thinking we were making this up.
And we're like, oh, wait a second.
But keep in mind, I've never seen Escape from New York. So I didn't know that. And so we got done and he's like, isn't that a movie? And I was like, is it? And so we went we went looking and he's like, it's Escape from New York.
Yeah, it's been a while since I had watched it, so I completely forgot. But yeah.
Thinking we were being creative. But yeah, and so it's just,
it's Escape from New York 2025. that's my screenplay. That's my movie script.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I got to reboot. But anyway, so this is the kind of stuff. Look, those years that we moved across the country, we didn't go on vacations because we had spent all our money on moving and driving across the country. So we were like, what we did for vacation this year? We moved. But that's what it was like. It was like this big, giant, long road trip that we were on for like a week. And it was amazing. There's never a time, any other time I've ever been able to do things like see all these states. Like I've been through Kentucky now, which is gorgeous. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. Like we went through these estates it was on the freeway, and there was these huge, like equestrian estates and like training facilities, and there was like a castle, and we were like, "What is this? This is gorgeous." Yeah. It was pretty hoity-toity, I got to tell you.
It was amazing. Yeah, that castle was.
People were like on their horses, like trotting around in their perfect outfits. I was like, I'm in a movie right now. What's happening? Yeah, it was really cool. And I never would have saw anything like that. I thought Kentucky was just like a dry, like, I didn't even know. I don't know what Kentucky was. So we went through it, and it was really cool. We got to see St. Louis. We got to see, we went through, the Batman building. Where is that?
The Batman building.
Where's the Batman building? I can't remember now. What city? You remember?
I thought it was St. Louis.
No, that's the Arch. The Batman building is, if you know where the Batman building is, tell me. Because we went through way too many cities for me to remember, but I'm sure somebody knows what I'm talking about. It's the Bat building. It has the 2 points.
Yeah.
And everybody calls it the Batman building.
Yeah. I don't, I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was St. Louis.
No, But anyway, I know somebody's going to be like, duh, it's the city. It's like, Nashville. No, it's not Nashville. Gosh, dang it. Now it's going to bug me. I got to look it up. Anyway, but we got to see all these really cool things. So and here's the thing.
We went through Nashville, and Nashville had a lot more traffic than I expected.
A lot. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. There's more to that story, but it was just, and it was dry. But yeah, we got to go through all kinds of places, and we moved all the way from Charlotte, North Carolina to the Seattle area. So, and other than moving from the tip of Florida to Seattle, you can't go further across the country than that. I mean, that's about as far as you can drive without hitting the ocean. And it was just an incredible experience that I never thought I would have. And I know it was only moving, but it was a total adventure.
Mm-hmm. And that took a lot of planning.
Oh my gosh, so much planning. Well, he was like, I'm so sorry we have to drive. I wish we could just, and I was like, no, what are you talking about? This is a total adventure. This is what I signed up for. This is so much fun because I wanted to always see more of the country. Mm-hmm. And so anyway,
But anyway, God's word talks about planning, right?
Yeah. I was going to bring up, the verses talk about when you plan, you have prosperity. And when you don't, you have poverty.
Well, what it is you are, number one, you're making a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
Right? When we don't plan. We're like, well, it'll be there, it'll be available, or this won't happen, this won't happen. Instead of listening to wise
counsel.
Advice, right?
Speaking of wise counsel, we have to make plans we have a wedding to go to next month, and we don't plan, we won't make it.
Oh, yeah. Let me write this down.
So, no, it's true.
No, it's true. But a lot of times when we make those assumptions, that's when things fall apart and you're like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. But also, when it comes to our life, planning, mm-hmm. we have to have faith. And I was reading about this morning. Faith that God will follow through in his promise.
Yeah.
So why am I bringing that up? because a lot of times we set our own plans.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we make plans.
God speaks to us, he shows us what, you know, he blesses us with certain things, and so we make assumptions that then this is how it's going to all lay out.
Because we made plans.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it goes off of your plan, your faith starts to waver. You start to question. You start to become disappointed. Is this really going to happen?
Did I do something wrong?
Right.
Am I failing?
And we have to remember that God is faithful in his promises. God is faithful.
So even though it says to plan, it also says in the Bible to make sure that our plans aren't ahead of God's plans.
Right. And again, that goes to wise counsel.
Yeah.
And we have to, this is why we need to be in prayer. This is why we need to be in our word, because look, the wisest counsel you're going to get is from the Holy Spirit. Right?
Yep, absolutely.
And if you're praying about something, things seem to be going off script.
Yep.
That's when you need to start seeking counsel and help to get clarity on where is this plan going. And all along, you're like, well, did God change his mind? Did God, change his plans? Did God not believe I can do this?
Oh my gosh!
Did he
all
change
the lies.
his mind on me? No, God is unwavering. God is.
God's just revealing the plan the way it was in the beginning to you.
Yeah. So
finally,
1 second. I don't know why this is doing this again. Hold on.
Oh, the camera's doing something weird. Are we blurry?
Yeah.
Weird.
Sorry, guys.
Technology.
Starting to blur a little.
I love technology almost as much as you see. Sorry, I have Napoleon Dynamite you with technology. So anyway, this has been, this has been a nice light study this week, because I wanted to we wanted to just start, with this at the same time. She can see us perfectly. Thank you, Monica. We wanted to jump off kick off this summer, right, with our 7-day challenge that we're doing, and also a really great study, a really great devotional on just going out and doing something in the summertime, like with our families or with ourselves or our spouses or our friends or what our families, because getting into movement, getting into motion, doing something outside your normal routine kind of wakes up the senses. It mixes up your routine. It breaks up the monotony, and you start to want to do other new things. You're telling your brain, I'm doing something new. We're not doing the regular same old. We're not stuck in our rut anymore. We're getting unstuck just by practically applying, just a new activity, or just going on a trip, or doing something, maybe not even a trip, just doing something different with your day. That could be your adventure, is just figuring out new ways to live your life and getting that kind of broken up. You know what I'm saying? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different, we know, is the definition of insanity. Don't be insane. Go do something new.
Don't be insane.
Don't be insane. Go do something new.
That needs to be on a t-shirt.
Don't be insane in the membrane. So, but it's definitely, it's powerful to just jump into a new activity, or just have a little getaway. So definitely be thinking about what you can do. So like you said, we were like, let's take the kids camping. And so we were walking at the gym yesterday. We were walking the track, right? We're like talking about how the devotional kind of stirred us up yesterday, and thinking that, like, I really want to go camping. And we just, every time we talk about it, we never go buy the equipment. It just never happens. It just, there's no reason for it. Like, I've always camped my whole life. He's camped. Like, we just haven't done it. And I'm like, man, our kids can't grow up without going camping. That's like a tragedy. Especially living in the Pacific Northwest. So, and we've taken them hiking and stuff, but like, we just haven't done the camping thing. And I was like, well, we got to make it happen. And so we were discussing it, and he's like, we should rent an RV, because instead of buying all the equipment, right now, this year, we could just do that. And so we were looking it up this morning, and I didn't realize there was like an RVshare.com. I don't know anything about it. I just found it online, and it looks kind of like the Airbnb of RVs. It's basically like people renting out their RVs. I know a friend of ours, Irene, rents out her RV, and she lives in Alaska, so we can't use hers. But anyway, it's just one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that. We probably would have done that already. Just, go to the coast for an overnight at the campground or something and just camp by the beach and be in an RV. And I was like, my gosh, that sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like no checkout time, no check-in time. You're just like
pack
there
up and go.
and you're just already there. It's amazing.
It sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Until we do it. But.
Until we do, and then it's an adventure.
Yep. You know, I was thinking about, you know, we do camp. We camp in our house, you know, but those memories.
Yeah.
I know that those memories I'm going to hold on to when the girls are all grown up, you know, making tents for them and wanting me to make tents for them.
Oh, the forts that you make for them to sleep in? Oh, yeah. I mean, these girls.
Now they're expert.
They're expert fort builders. I always talk about how we have Fortnite over here, but it's not the video game. We do Fortnite different. It's every weekend when they go, can we build a fort in our room? And then they switch back and forth between what rooms they're doing. And then they all three of them build a fort of like.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we had to do that in
the living room with our heat wave. We had to go on an adventure in our own living room where we slept on the couch and the girls slept in a tent that they built like a fort because nobody could live upstairs. Like it was we have no AC because the Pacific Northwest. And so we have this house with it was just absolutely like gross upstairs. Gross is a good word. It was so hot. It was, I'm telling you, like downstairs with like a rolling air conditioner, it was like 85 degrees which is where it was keeping it cool enough for us to actually sleep kind of. But upstairs, it had to easily have been 100 degrees. Easily. Because I couldn't even walk upstairs without being like, oh, I'm in a sauna. It was so bad. Well, you know. With the windows open.
The lesson out of that, though.
Buy an air conditioner.
Yes. But our kids it's very important, going back to day one of this, it's very important that our kids see us adapting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes.
Right? Not getting frustrated.
Making it work.
Cursing God and cursing everybody else, your dog, your neighbor, you know, and getting frustrated. Mm-hmm. It's how are you going to teach them to adapt in life? Because they're going to face adversity.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to face frustrations. Are we teaching them how to lash out in anger? How to just panic?
Right.
Hello? And not do anything?
Yeah.
Or are we teaching them how to adjust no matter what is coming, what we face?
Well, that's the thing is, think about it. When you think about how, first of all,
adapt and overcome, guys.
Adapt and overcome. Exactly. The way we teach our kids best, and well, not just teach our kids best, the way they learn by their own, you know, preference is by example. That's the way they want to learn. They want to learn by preference. They don't want to learn by us telling them stuff and nagging them. They just don't. They want to know like what to do by watching us. So that's why we eat healthy. That's why we exercise. That's not the only reason, but I'll tell you, that's one of the most motivating reasons is knowing that they're watching us, and that's what we want them to be able to take with them the rest of their lives. So I tell you that there's nothing better than like my child coming up to me and be like, are we going to work out? And I'm like, well, we are now. Like, yep, that's what's happening. That's what's up, because that's more important to me. We're talking about this devotional I was talking about yesterday or the day before about how it's like, treat it like you're saving the very souls of your children. And we were talking yesterday about what we are. Like when you talk about the adventures you go on or even the routines that you have, actually, especially the routines that you have, that is saving the very souls of your children. They will only do what it is that you're showing them to do, your example. So being on adventures, having courage, breaking up that routine, adapting to adversity, taking it head on and saying, what are we going to do with this pain? Think about when they're adults and what you would want them to do. Why is it that we don't teach our kids anything? And then when they're adults, we're like, why aren't you making better decisions? I mean, hello, let's just look in the mirror a little bit and be like, let's suck it up and accept that maybe, because we have adult kids, you know what I mean? And so we've been through rounds of this already. And so when we have, you know, this is like round 2, we already know what it's like to have your kids grow up, and you're like, why are you like this? And then
you're like,
I used to not be this person, and gee, maybe you didn't have the best example. So I mean, you know, there's every parent goes through that, but it's that thing so knowing that, it's that thing that you look at them and go, what am I going to want you to do when you're an adult? I'm going to want you to find adventure. I'm going to want you to not panic when there's adversity. I'm going to want you to find ways to adapt and overcome your adversity, your pain, find ways to get closer with God, find ways to pull out the purpose in the pain. Well, then we have to do that too. And we have to do it with them, not above them, not over them, with them. We're a team in this house. We talk to our kids about what's going on within reason. Okay. And we tell them, okay, so this is what's happening. And, so we're going to do this. And they're like, okay, great. Can we help? Yes. Perfect. I'm going to bring up what Lene's saying. Hey, Lene, welcome. So true. I didn't start eating right and praying daily till I found out I was pregnant. Yes. And it's crazy. Like all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute. I don't care about myself, but this person, I want them to be a decent human being. So I'm going to change everything. It's like, but we don't care about doing it. Like listen, if I was by myself, I'm going to be dead honest. I would have cereal for dinner every night. How many times have I been like super sick and I'm like, can we just have cereal, everyone, please? Like, but I know no one's having cereal for dinner. Like I know that. So if I was left to my own devices, you guys, I'm not like eating right all the time because this is my like, you know what? I wake up in the morning because I like to hit the smoothies. No, I want a bagel and cream cheese. Okay. And I want a bowl of cereal for dinner. Like I'm a sugar and carb addict. Like
TV dinners and hot
I would have Doritos if I mean, seriously, I'm a total, seriously, when growing up, I ate so much crap food. I grew up on crap food. So there's things that we do in our life that we have to, these changes you make, these adventures you're on, these things are all outside our comfort zone. Most of the things I do in my life are outside my comfort zone. Most, I would say 90% is just stuff that I do because it's the right thing to do. Because now look, I don't hate my life. I love these things that I do. I love now that I'm doing it. My point is that I wouldn't choose to do the right things if I didn't have the right motivations. And that includes going outside our comfort zone and being on adventures and getting outside, right? I would just be like, movie marathon. But when I go outside, I love it. It's like when we work out and we get done, we feel good, right? But do we want to do it before we're working out? No, of course not. We're all like, I'm tired. Do we want to make the healthy dinner? No, because we're tired. We don't really want to put the effort in. But when we do it and we eat right, when I have a salad and I have all these greens and everything, man, afterwards, I always tell them, I'm like, man, it's like, I always feel so good after I eat this. Like my body feels like, thank you. And I feel good. My stomach doesn't hurt. I don't have like, I'm not bloated. Like I feel great. Right. But do I want that when I'm hungry? No, I want a burger. And when I have that, I feel like dying. So I'm like, well, and plus my kids, like they can't eat like that. I don't want them to grow up eating like that. So there's all these motivations, right, that keep us from the person we would be if we weren't trying, the person that we would be if we were just being lazy, if we didn't have the right motivations. Naturally, we all just want to do the easy thing.
Well, sometimes, look, we need things in our life to happen. Sometimes things happen in our life, or someone comes into our life that we're like, that's not what I had planned.
Yeah.
That's not where I thought things were going.
Right.
Look, for example, when we got together, we were friends.
I was going to say, you mean how we got together? Like, that's not how I didn't.
Well, the thing is that we were friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And we were content with the direction we were going. We thought we were both single, and we thought we were going these
Well, we
directions.
lived in different states, so it was long distance, and we were just like.
It didn't make sense. But then, and then.
He comes through town one time.
Right. And then we're like, wait a second. Where'd this come from? But, or certain things happen in our life and we start questioning, well, is this right? Or can this really happen? And sometimes we need that change in our environment.
You don't know until you know.
To get out of the stagnation that we're in.
Right. And that's what I was saying with like that comfort zone we get in, that natural place that we want to exist without having the right motivation. So we get stuck in that not adventure mode almost.
Well, what happens is it's like the frog in boiling water. Yeah. You put a frog in water, you slowly turn up the temperature and they won't jump out. But if you put them into
boiling water, they're out.
Jump out. But the thing is we don't realize that we are in a funk. Okay. Yeah. We don't realize that we're
stuck in a rut.
We're stuck in this rut. But if we were to take an examination of ourselves and realize, wait a second, my stress level's up. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
I'm more short-tempered, or I'm
tired all the time.
I'm becoming
Yeah.
cynical. So the things that
Yeah.
are coming out of my mouth aren't
snarky.
positive, and they're more snarky. Okay.
Yeah.
So what can we do to change this? What can we do to change our environments? Look, I experienced this just last month. I believe it was last month when, you and I were working hard. We
Yeah.
spent a lot of time in our offices, on the phone, a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of emails,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of organization, a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt this heaviness. And it had been all week long sunny, but we were indoors.
Yeah.
I just went and had to run some errands. In that time, I transformed.
Yeah. I know.
Because
It's true.
in that time, I was just being outside, changing my environment,
Mm-hmm.
allowed me to get clarity of my day, of my
Mm-hmm.
week, of where God was taking me.
Yep.
And the frustrations I was feeling melted away.
No,
by
it's
just
so
simply
true. Yeah.
being outside.
Yep.
Changing my environment.
Mm-hmm.
Changing. Now, look, we're talking about adventure here, but sometimes the adventure is right here in our minds.
Yeah.
On getting some clarity.
Yeah.
And getting out of it.
Just making a decision to change the things that we're doing. It's
Right.
time. There are times where, I can't figure out how to kind of get myself motivated. And then one day I will just be like, something clicks. And I mean, there is no stopping me. Like all of a sudden I just have I just change my perspective, and I am determined.
Well, check this out.
It's just it's so interesting. You just have a change of mind.
Think about just yesterday and the day before. Okay. The day before yesterday, there are a lot of things that had happened in our day. It was busy and everything else. And it was a very frustrating, and the day kind of went down.
Yeah. It was a
Okay.
really frustrating day.
And
yeah.
it didn't turn out the way we wanted. It didn't turn out the way we saw it to work out. And by the end of the day, we both felt exhausted
Mhm.
and frustrated. And we were like, you know what, Lord, I don't know where this is going.
I don't know what we're doing.
And
yeah.
I don't know how to turn this around. And
Yeah.
but then yesterday, after this,
Yeah.
after our discussion, and after our live to our group, we had to take our girls to swimming practice. And while they did that, we changed our workout up
Yeah.
and just walked around the track.
Yeah.
And we walked around the track and we talked while we
Oh
were
my
walking
gosh.
and getting our exercise.
God just dropped everything into our conversation.
Just gave us complete clarity.
Yeah, it was great.
And what we needed to do. But I guarantee you, we wouldn't have got that clarity
Mhm.
if we would have stood home and kept stewing
Over
about
yeah.
our frustrations, about our lack of this and the lack of that, and
Yep.
why can't this be done this way, and in stewing and
Yep.
stirring ourselves up about why didn't things work out according to our plan. Instead, we
asked
broke
God
that
for
pattern.
answers. We asked God and said,
Right.
"Look, God, this is your mission. This is what you're having us do. Like, where do you want this to go? What do you want us to do in this situation? What do you want us to do with our kids in this situation? Whatever it happens to be." We were asking him all these questions, and then we just sort of kind of leave it there, and then we move on and we do our day. But a lot of times what will happen is we'll pray about something, and then we'll go and we'll kind of break our routine up. That's usually when this happens. We'll break our routine up. We'll go outside. We'll do something. You know what, kids? We're going to go to the park for an hour. We just got to get out. We've got to get out of this house. We've got to get outside. And so we'll take them to the park. And they'll ride their scooters or whatever. And we're walking around. And I mean, God just drops bombs. Like he's like, okay, here's all the stuff that you wanted to know. Like here's all the encouragement you'll ever need. Like we leave, we're just like, like we figured things out. It was a productive walk. Like we got some exercise in, some fresh air. We feel great. And our complete mindset has changed. And it's because we have gotten used to, we can't continue doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yep.
Because we don't be insane. But anyway,
it would be fun. I know we need to go here really quick, but it would be fun.
What?
Is to, and an adventure, is to take this show on the road.
Yes.
But
Oh, we should. Yeah.
But take things along and go and do some fun stuff.
Yeah.
And then share it with you. Share our morning devotional. But you just pop in whatever hotel, wherever we're at, and just
totally
pop in. And
I promise you, if we ever, because you never know, God's told us that we don't know what anymore. Nothing's promised. If we ever move across the country again, it wouldn't shock me if we did. We promise to take you along and share the entire trip with you.
That would be fun.
Because I mean, it would be a blast.
Okay, guys. So you think are you all?
Oh no, this has been great. Yeah, we've definitely talked more than we planned. But we love hanging out with you guys. So listen, if this is something that you found value in today, make sure that you like and share this broadcast, because this is the only way as a community. Can't just be us, you guys. This is the only way as a community that we can all chime in and pitch in on getting the word out to those that desperately need a word of hope and encouragement today from God and from each other. And that way we can move forward with our lives, get out of that rut, get unstuck, and be doing the things that we need to be doing with our life that's more productive and healthy. If you are watching from our YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe, because you're going to get notified when you do every time we post a live broadcast or content there. And also, it helps to forward the mission along so that we can reach more people. So thank you for doing that.
Right. And if you are in our group, stay tuned. We're going in a few more minutes. We're going to be going live again in our free Facebook group. And on
day 4 of our challenge.
Yep.
We have that challenge going this week.
We're going to go through some more recipes and some more exercises today. And
we can't wait.
It's going to be great.
All right,
guys. You have a great day, and we will see you later.
See you later. Bye.